Hello, everybody, and welcome back to NCAA 2004, and we're here, guys. We're here, kicking off the final Alabama Crimson Tide season, year number 17, and we're kicking it off exactly how the first one ended in Honolulu, playing the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. Now, way back when, due to some violations and sanctions here from the NCAA on the Alabama Crimson Tide program, they were ineligible for a bowl in the first season that this game takes place in. So, what the Crimson Tide did was they scheduled a game against the Rainbow Warriors in Honolulu as kind of a de facto bowl game, and then that team ended up being awful, and they ended up losing to Hawaii in that game. So just some little tidbit of history for the Bama program, if you will. So just a few short years away from Nick Saban, that was happening in 2003. So just just in your brains. But either way, so we're coming in with a little bit of a new look roster here. We have a few young pieces all around here, but for the most part, we didn't lose too much in a lot of places. We managed to kind of at least stay consistent talent-wise in the places on the roster that we normally, or at least were huge areas of concern entering into the offseason. So like the offensive line, we managed to completely just reload there. We have a lot of juniors that are just waiting for their turn to play in their senior season, which is right now. So our offensive line is still as solid as we expected it to be over the course of time, and same with our defense. A lot of our defensive pieces really did not slack down a little bit. I think our linebacking core trended down a little bit from like an A plus to more like a like a A minus or like a B plus perhaps. You know what I mean? Like at the worst a B minus or a B plus. I mean, but for the most part, the offense still, or the defense still looks about as good as it has. You know, our cornerback room is still amazing. I think our safeties have gotten a little bit better. John Moultrie's a step down from Theo Thornton, but it's still a great, a prospect to have at that position, and the strong safety is slowly getting there. I think 76, both Josh Mann and who I ended up starting, Marvin Thompson, at strong safety. Both of them are at 76 overall, so we're starting to trend up a little bit there, but that's going to be it for for this series. That's about as good as that position is going to get again. And then, of course, our receiving corps is completely and entirely rebuilt. So, like, we have a completely brand new receiving corps. Now, granted, we have a couple of 5-stars out of Florida who are replacing the pieces that we lost in Evan Jacobs and Chip Milligan, and of course Ben Medley, but it is a brand new receiving corps. The only returning face that we have there who's seen significant reps over the last couple seasons is, of course, David Reeves, who's still here as a junior. So that's like the only major name out of all of our skill position players that you guys are probably going to recognize on this team, because we have Matt Bishop, who did make some starts, or not starts, but did get some snaps last season in blowouts. He didn't do very good in that limited setting here, but we're hoping he can maybe refine that a little bit in this game against Hawaii, as the first quarter comes to a close 3-0. But the running back situation is also completely new. We have brand new running backs, younger too, sophomore and junior sitting at that position. We have a freshman starting at fullback, which I can't remember the last time we had a freshman at fullback. And then, so some pieces on the defensive line are also a little bit new. We have the number one recruit at defensive end in the entire country of last year's recruiting class on our team, now starting for us as a freshman. So, we have some younger pieces, younger areas on the team here, but we still have a team that I think could probably contend. So we'll see how they look on the field, because that's a completely different ball game. But we'll see how they look on the field. Right now, a 3-0 start against Hawaii here. It's a long road trip, so give us the benefit of the doubt. But kind of a slow start right now against the Warriors, a team who, as you guys saw, were ranked 109th in the country and already have lost a game here in week 0. So kind of an interesting situation here to find ourselves down a little bit early. But finally, we're getting a little bit of juice from the run game here, as Jamal Stanley is able to burst up the middle here and get himself a nice little pickup on the ground here. But we need to see a little bit more life out of our offense on 3rd and 5 now. Bishop takes the snap here, drops back to pass, has plenty of time to throw, as we still have a great offensive line. Decides to throw it in about 4 different guys of traffic in the Warriors secondary, and that pass is going absolutely nowhere. So bring out Kendall Owens for another field goal opportunity. Not a great decision for Matt Bishop to go with the football. He's also number 18. When's the last time? Was Carlos Cobb the last number 18 quarterback that we had? Carlos Cobb. He was like our first actual quarterback that we recruited here. He was a JUCO. He was like the first legitimate quarterback that I actually recruited to this team was Carlos Cobb. So that is a poll. So see if you guys remember Carlos Cobb. But Matt Bishop now donning number 18, and he manages to find an open receiver down the sideline. And if I'm not mistaken, looking over the sheet, I'm pretty sure that was Dontrell Blanchard, the tight end, or new starting tight end. I believe it was him. So we'll get another look on the replay. But yeah, I believe it's Blanchard, the tight end. So I almost said Carlos Cobb. So Matt Bishop looking for a place to go with the football, finds Blanchard on the sideline, and Blanchard turning that upfield, man, really turning that into something. Big stiff arm to get out of bounds. Didn't even need to do that, but he did, so we'd love to see it. So Bishop tries to roll out of the pocket, and now the backup tight end, who I actually do have written down, rarely, I never do, but Harvey Patton, the backup tight end, who's a freshman, number 82. He is the backup tight end, and we managed to grab him. He's one of our new recruits from this recruiting class that we are showcasing today, and he gets himself a touchdown early on. So before Blanchard gets one, interesting enough. So now we've started to add on a little bit of points here against Hawaii, and the mistakes are going to start coming for the Warriors, as now LeBron Goss, yes, their quarterback's name is LeBron, manages to throw an interception, and there's no one who's going to stop him on his way to the end zone. It's Deion Moultrie, the free safety. You gotta love it, folks. Gotta love it, man. So in his first game, fully starting at his position, because remember, he started at strong safety last year because he was faster than Josh Mann was. Now he's finally starting at free safety in the absence of Theo Thornton, and he gives himself an interception. And now there's even more chaos ensuing in the Hawaii passing game, as I believe Moultrie had his hands on another football, but that one's going to end up in the hands of, I believe, Lance Hunt. Lance Hunt, our top DB here, he managed to get his hands on a football, and now that is back-to-back interceptions for LeBron. His name is LeBron. That's hilarious. LeBron Goss. Not spelled the same. It's an A instead of an E, but yeah, LeBron Goss is the quarterback for Hawaii, and he's not very good, but he had a decent game in the first game of the season, but that's about all I can say. He hasn't really had much experience as a starter, if it isn't obvious. And same with Matt Bishop, who now throws himself his first interception of the game, so would love to see that not happen from a quarterback, but hey, we're up 20-0. We can afford to let it happen. So LeBron finally finds himself an open target, man. Look at that. Just kind of threaded that through the needle. Has not had himself the best starts of game, and neither is Matt Bishop. I mean, look at that. Both quarterbacks are having equal games, and the score's 20-0. So one of these things is not like the other. Someone's an imposter. We're going to find out who it is. So, but Goss goes through the air once again. It's a mouthful. Say LeBron Goss goes through the air. It's not. I'm just struggling. I'm choking on my own tongue. But LeBron Goss able to find an open target along almost near the pylon. He just about got into the end zone. And Hawaii really doesn't have a lot to talk about here. That's Paul Weeks who made that catch. And he did have a touchdown in week 0, but that's about all that we can say for the skill positions here at Hawaii. There's not like a ton really to write home about, so we will keep an eye on it, but there's really not much to go on about. And Goss now finally throws himself another interception, and that one goes to Albert Bishop, our new starting middle linebacker, who's one of the depth linebackers that we've had. We've seen him on the field before. I think he had an interception last season or two, but he's now the starting middle linebacker, so we're going to be seeing a lot of Albert Bishop this season, and he gets himself another interception in this game. Or gets a interception. Our defense gets another interception. That's Albert Bishop's first. So Bishop now fires one down the middle of the field, and that pass is going to be caught in the end zone by who else but David Reeves, folks. David Reeves, who had 8 touchdowns last season, managed to get one finally here in the first game of the season. We'd love to see big things from David Reeves. He's going to have to hold down the receiving core quite a bit, which, that's not like a ton. That doesn't give you a ton of faith. Not anything against Reeves as a prospect, but just, not having the depth of that position. It's going to make it pretty easy for defenses to scheme against us, and it's going to make defenses really easy to scheme against us if Matt Bishop cannot stop turning the ball over. We already struggled with a quarterback who has turnover problems, and I don't want to go back to that. We're still very close to that. The Dre Gates, Ernest Slaughter debacle, and I do not want to go back to that. But it looks like Matt Bishop might have himself a bit of a turnover problem. He definitely had that issue in his limited time in the blowouts. He threw for almost 400 yards and had 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So it's definitely a part of his game that we're going to try and coach out of him, but I don't know if we can. So in his final season at coach, I don't know if Sicknaven has it in him to coach Matt Bishop out of the turnovers, which are just continuing. They are just continuing. Our defense is doing exactly what they need to do, getting Hawaii off of the field, as they should, against one of the bottom-ranked teams in the country, but Matt Bishop says, hey, I want this game competitive. It needs to look better on my resume. We need to make Hawaii look a little bit better than they are, but it's dumb. At least he's making the tackles. I think it's the second straight interception that he made the touchdown-saving tackle, which is hilarious. So, but now LeBron Goss is going to try and get the Warriors in the end zone if at all possible. Kind of an awkward play there. It looks like we had a defender, maybe a linebacker, who's in the vicinity to make a play on the football, but maybe just misplayed it a little bit. And now that is James Dorsey, who gets himself another touchdown on the season. He also had a touchdown in week 0, and now he's got another touchdown for Hawaii. Hawaii. And now we're going to see Matt Bishop run the football a little bit. So I can't remember what the scrambling stat or what the speed stat for Matt Bishop is in this game, but I guess it's decent enough for him to try running the football, so we'll keep an eye on that, I guess. But now we're going to give it off to Stanley once again, the running back, and he's going to run right up the middle. Look at that, man. 6 rushes, averaging 6.6 yards a carry. Ooh, spooky. Ooh. But it's a nice pickup for Stanley. I'll give him the credit for that. It's a very nice pickup, as he's going to get inside the 2-yard line, looks like. And now we are going to be perfectly set up to kind of give ourselves a bit of an insurance score and crack this game a little bit wide open. We're going to go right back to Stanley. He's going to get into the end zone for his first touchdown of the game. And now we have kind of really put things in perspective here for Hawaii. Maybe they're going to have to make some tough decisions entering into the fourth quarter, as the third quarter is coming to a close. So they're going to have to come up with something here pretty quickly if they want a nice change. If they want to see a change, they're going to have to come up with something pretty darn quickly here, as we take a 34-14 lead over the Warriors. But LeBron Goss will not be silenced until he finds Albert Bishop for his second interception. So now Albert Bishop has multiple interceptions in this game. It's no longer a misspoke. Albert Bishop does have multiple interceptions in this game. So big game for the middle linebacker. We love to see it for the senior here. So, but LeBron Goss, fast forward later on into the game here, LeBron Goss and the Warriors finally do work it into the end zone and get themselves, I don't want to say back into the game, but it looks a little bit more respectable. But we would add another touchdown ourselves and pick up our first win of the season, all the way in Aloha Stadium in Honolulu. We would pick up the big win that we needed. I don't know. We can't lose, but you obviously can't lose to Hawaii. Absolutely, you can't lose to Hawaii. But this is a big game, big road trip. You can't just expect these to be guarantees, folks. You never know. You can't expect them to be guarantees. But we do manage to pick up a big win here against Hawaii. And, I was going to try and say something good, but Hawaii outplayed us in a lot of regards, a lot of aspects here. That fourth quarter is really big for the Rainbow Warriors. So there's a lot to work on, folks. We're going to be heading back to Tuscaloosa with a lot on the clipboard here and needing to work on. So Matt Bishop's got a pretty big turnover problem. The defense ended up buckling quite a bit here towards the end of the game. 21 points to Hawaii is not like awful, but they were doing really, really good in the first half of this ball game, and then just kind of lost it, I guess, towards the second half. And it looks like the offense is still capable of scoring as much as it needs to, but I would really like to see a little bit stronger performances from the quarterback, of course, a little bit more from the run game, too, in his first game, less than 100 yards. So there were a couple good runs that Stanley had, but still would like to see a little bit more explosivity from the run game, because we know we have the offensive line for it. So whether or not it skews pass or run blocking, I don't think matters, because we just have it loaded with 90-plus overall players. So there shouldn't be a problem on the offensive line getting protection and creating space for the run game to operate, but clearly in Hawaii it was an issue. So we pick up another huge win over Kentucky. We will never watch that game again. I'm sorry, guys. We watched it in year number 1. I don't think we ever watched it again, because Kentucky has never been good. We're going to look at all the records of the SEC teams over the course of this series, but that one's the one I'm most curious in, because they maybe have won less than 20 games in this entire series, I think. I don't know, but next up is our one big ranked game of our out-of-conference schedule, and it is against Illinois, number 18th in the country. We will be in Champaign fighting the Fighting Illini out of the Big Ten. So hope to see you guys there when we play Illinois.